shit. It's okay, that's how the game is played. You thought you could be fired, but didn't know how to get paid.
The I Hate Podcast show in full effect right now. It's your boy Heff. I brought back my homie Keenon Cage. Last time we talked, we were doing a kind of prediction on how this playoff and the playoffs and the finals was going to pan out. We were pretty much on the nose with this one. I went to go watch. I was like, you know what, we really. We kind of expected it. I knew you wanted New York to go, so because of the whole trade thing, that it would have been dope and all that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like, this wasn't a good finals, and I was like, I don't think y'all were watching what I was watching. Like, the finals was. I thought this was one of the best finals I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. It's the whole basketball purist thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a basketball purist, you're gonna enjoy it. For the everyday average person, you really want to have like people that everybody knows, and they didn't have that in there. So yeah, I get all of that, but it was good. It was really good.
Man, like I didn't have I didn't have a favorite, but I was leaning more towards Indiana. I'm not upset that Oklahoma won. Like I still think that if Halliburton didn't tear his ACL in that last game, because Indiana was going the first half without him.
Right.
I don't know what happened after halftime. I was like, what do you think?
Well, usually like there's a period of you can just continue to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's in those moments where they started to make those runs. OKC started to make those runs. And now you have everybody else trying to fill in those spots for your main player.
Okay.
That's when things got out of hand. So like when you talk about superstars, that's what they do. That's when, okay, hey, you know what? I got the ball. I'm going to make something happen, whether it's a shot for me or I'm going to get somebody else's shot. And you didn't have that. So now you have TJ McConnell who can go hard because he knows he's going hard for certain minutes. Now it's, oh, man, I got to play the rest of this game, major minutes. And then you started to see those things. And the reality set in of knowing that, damn, he's not coming back. If he would have got hurt second half, that would have been enough time for them to continue to push. But that reality set in, man.
I was kind of disappointed in Pascal Siakam being a champion already, so it wasn't like a new thing with him, and he did not perform at all.
But he's never been a quote unquote alpha guy. Okay. He's a guy that he's gonna get his points within, sometimes you can go to him when he's hot. He can possibly win you a game or maybe a game by going, nuclear. Mm-hmm. But that's what the difference is between the superstars and regular players is like Shea. Even though Shea didn't have like so many games where he was like his percentage was really high, he was still averaging over 26 to 30. So he's gonna find a way to get those points. Siakam's not like that. Siakam needs an alpha. He's more of what you would call, I guess, the Robin.
Yeah.
He's going to be the second option that can fill in spots.
Well, the reason why I brought up there was only two champions on this whole finals, and that was Siakam and Caruso from Oklahoma. Now, the crazy part is that when I saw Caruso start acting up, that's how he acted in 2020.
Right?
Like that's what you're paying him for, right there.
Right?
Like they got their money's worth with that type of action that he brought, and I was like, oh Lord, he hot, and he's not gonna slow down.
I feel bad for Giddey, man, because I think if they still had Giddey, he could have morphed into that role as well. So it's like they trade Giddy and then they get a ship and now he's over in Chicago.
I know. Like, and then so
that's messed up.
And then so but that's like going back to when we were predicting all this stuff, the thing that the road for them to get there, I thought both teams was warranted to be there. It wasn't. I don't think it was any. Like, I just think they outplayed everybody.
Look, in any finals run, they say there's always a little bit of luck, right?
Okay.
There are circumstances. So almost for the most part, not every finals, but there are a lot of teams that win where you say, yeah, but this happened. So let's take OKC. Game 3 against first round against Memphis. Mm-hmm. Memphis was up almost, was 30 or 40
points. It was like 30-something points, yeah.
Ja gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They come back, win, they finish the series. Ja doesn't get hurt. They match up well enough to where they started to figure out how to play them. Mm-hmm. That possibly goes 6, maybe 7. Okay. Then they play Denver. Denver gets pushes them to 7. Aaron Gordon's hurt. Mm-hmm. Right? Then they get to the conference finals. Well, Minnesota's Minnesota. So
yeah, I was in.
Know that.
I couldn't understand how Minnesota was in that spot. Like,
yeah,
they. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're just mad because they beat." I'm like, yeah. Even when they beat the Lakers, I'm still like,
Yeah, no, I've always said that. I've had posts for the past couple of years that Minnesota plays some of the dumbest basketball. Mm-hmm. Well, they're not dumb players. They make weird, questionable plays when you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
So that's that. Now you go to the Indiana side. I would say Indiana probably proved themselves more because even though Boston lost, Tatum gets hurt. New York was still going up 3-1.
Yeah.
They were going to be 3-1.
I think New York was going to take Boston out.
Yeah. Now maybe it goes 7.
Yeah.
But I think they were still going to beat them because they just seem to have the answers in what Boston did with not having Porzingis be healthy the whole time. That just throws them without Porzingis, they can beat a lot of teams.
Right.
With a healthy Porzingis, it's like you can't. Okay, so OKC matches up against Boston.
Yes,
right.
I agree with that.
How do they defend it in a 7-game series with everybody healthy? Chet and Hardenstein is going to have problems with Porzingis because he can shoot so deep out and he's so tall.
Yeah,
everybody can defend just like on OKC. So but their mentality with threes is what really put them in a bad position. They just keep shooting and shooting and shooting.
Well, I thought with New York, what made them so dominant, in my opinion, to me it was more hustle than playing. Like they hustle. Like Hart. I mean, I saw Josh Hart grow from when he was with LA, bounced around, ended up in Knick, and he still does those stupid fouls and stuff like that. But you see his body changed. You see him growing, and like he became a threat. And I appreciated that because I was like, the dude can shoot, but now he's like going in there. He's playing D. He's doing this. He's doing that. And I was like, okay. So he became a threat. So you're like, and a lot of people weren't paying attention to it because you were paying attention to the other two. You were paying
Cat and Brunson
and and you weren't paying attention to the other guys that were just pretty much as nice, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh no, I was leaning what you were saying, like, it'd be cool. It would be cool if New York would have went to the finals.
Yeah.
However, I just became a real big fan of Halliburton.
Yeah.
That's just over the playoffs. Like, I
Yeah.
liked him last year and everything, but there was something about him this year. Like that one buzzer beater game.
Right.
I
Right.
was
Right.
like,
But you know what? He's gonna need to take that next step where
yeah,
he can be a superstar, but in order to be a superstar, you have to be consistent, like 25 to 30 points a game
yeah,
every game.
yeah,
And I don't think he hasn't showed that he's willing to do that. He's more of a, hey, I'm gonna, if I need to pass, and set up, I'll do those things. But if you look at those all those games, there were large stretches where he was just another guy in the game. And if you're a superstar, you can't be that. You have to always have a presence
yeah,
in every second of every minute of a game.
yeah. And I think that's what set him apart from Alexander. Alexander, uh, I was still wishy washy on him for a minute. Not saying that he was fantastic. I just thought he had great support,
Yeah,
but he did show when, yeah, like you said, when it came down to it,
yeah,
he had to perform better
right,
than the rest of his team. He had to.
right.
He had to come out and he had to show why he was like the MVP. You get what I'm saying?
There was a stretch in that second quarter of game 7
Yeah,
where Indiana was really starting to try to take control of the game. It was
yeah,
like they still had some energy because they could play.
yeah,
And Shea really took over that portion to
yeah.
keep them where they needed to be. And
So
then
they
the
can.
third quarter is when they
Well, I
pulled away.
always thought that third quarters in any game was like the decision maker in most cases. Like you said, if I can keep it at least to a 10-point game at halftime,
Hmm.
and the game is different now compared to in the past. 10 points was a lot back,
Right.
you know, 15, 20 years ago. It was a lot. Like,
Now,
oh my God, 10 points.
now
Now
30 points.
that's four possessions. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 points is nothing. Like
Right.
Golden State proved that. Like
Right.
they could be down by 15 and then 2 minutes later be up by 10. So it's
Right.
like by that logic, it's like I agree. You kept them at bay, even if it could have been 5-10, could even have been as large as 15-point lead going into halftime. That third quarter is very pivotal to what your
Yeah.
fourth quarter is going to be as the outcome, as far as when you because you got to look at momentum too, right? So
Right. Right.
that third quarter, man, if you ball out of control and do those super duper runs and do like 10-0 stretches throughout the
Right.
quarter, and that dogs out a team. That
And I believe and I believe that third quarter there were two 8-0 runs.
yeah,
Carlisle tried to call timeout to try to stem it, get a shot. That's when Halliburton would be able to come in
and
and
do
say,
his
look,
thing.
and look, if Siakam was that guy, Siakam would be, hey, give me the ball, I'm gonna run. But see, there were too many times. If you look, there were some games where he only touched the ball once in the fourth quarter,
But
right?
I always thought that was bad coaching to me.
Nah, you can't put that on coaching. Number
No,
one,
because they're designing those plays though.
no, they run concepts. They're not like they run concepts as opposed to set plays.
Okay.
And those guys are supposed to make sure. Now, if you're that alpha, if you're that dog,
Hmm.
you find the ball. Like there might be a trip or two where you go up and down the court where you don't get a shot, maybe because of the flow of where it was going.
Yeah.
But by that third or fourth trip, no, I need to touch the ball. I need to
Okay.
touch it, right? Whether I take a shot or not, I need to touch it. And there were far too many times where he would touch the ball too far out of position with a smaller guy. When he got where he needed to get, he was fine, but he wasn't doing it consistency. And that's the alpha mentality.
Ah, I get it. I get it. So okay, and that's I always wondered about that. That how come he didn't have that many touches, considering he's that he's the second option.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
that's why with like Kano, I was like, why is this dude? At first, I was like, this dude does not pass the ball to save his life. You know, like
yeah.
he's always gonna take a shot, good or bad. But now I understood why he was doing it because ain't nobody.
No, and see, to me, that's on his teammates. That's on him first.
Yeah,
But then that's on his teammates because it's like you're supposed like you see Shea get the ball,
yeah,
right? Even if Shea, there were times where they were putting pressure on Shea coming up the court, so other guys got the ball up court. Then once you get in the half court setting, then Shea comes and gets the ball. So he's conserving his energy. He gets the ball. Now he can make his move.
right.
Why weren't you doing? Why wasn't Siakam doing that? Why wasn't he trying? Now, you could say maybe some of it is on coaching to try to get him, but to me, when you're in that game, it's man, I need the ball. I see what you're saying, coach, but no, I need to touch the ball.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I would have designed a lot of because the fact that he's an inside out baller. There would have been so many things you could have did with that man. Like you could have freed up the hole with him outside because he can shoot. I know his. I don't know his consistency on threes, but if he had a solid consistency on threes, there's so many things you could do with him without him even shooting the ball.
Right? Yeah.
And
And see, in OKC, they is my biggest gripe with them was okay, they were good defensively, but
yeah,
they weren't locked down good. They were we gamble a lot, right?
yeah,
We gamble and we reach and we push and we hold, and a
yeah,
lot of that stuff doesn't get called.
yeah,
If there were numerous times where if you had the ball in somebody's hand who understood, the way they were rotating,
yeah.
you're getting wide open threes, open lane
Mm-hmm.
dunks because Caruso, Dort, all those guys, they were always out of position a lot,
Yeah.
gambling because they were anticipating what they were going to do, but they weren't making them pay for it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I did notice that too. And the thing is that they Oklahoma kind of popularized the whole big man thing again. And what I mean by them having two bigs on the actual floor at one time was crazy to me. I mean, because with Holgram and what's the other dude's name?
Hardenstein.
Yeah, they're not slow.
No.
You hear what I'm saying? So now I'm like, okay, so I had an argument with somebody because they were like, well, Shaq, I was like, y'all keep looking at the big 50-something-year-old Shaq. That the 23-year-old Shaq was not. That brother was fast as hell. Like he outrun you on the court.
Yeah, Shaq playing today. He might even average more.
Probably.
Because
like I keep saying to people, I'm like, yo, the dude was. I was like, he kind of was undersized for his height, but to us, he's like a giant, But my man was fast. He had handles and everything like that. I was like, you can't even find a once in a generation talent like that. So as we're moving forward to going, it looks like we're gonna start transforming back to bigs. Even though guards are still like the hot commodity, because even in the draft it showed like they were just guard. I'm like, oh my god, we don't need a guard.
And in the league is a copycat league. So when Golden State took over, everybody wanted to do what Golden State was doing.
Right.
Boston was the next thing.
Yeah.
Now OKC wins with the way they played. Now you're going to see a lot of that. But the bigs have made a comeback to where it's like that small ball stuff. You can do it in little spots.
Yeah.
I mean, OKC, which was something I didn't understand. You win 68 games playing Hardenstein and Chet in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
You get to the finals and you start 10 tinkering with it and not starting them. Start with where you need to. That's what got you those games.
Yeah.
And then adjust like that.
Well,
Miles Turner
I
didn't
thought
make
they were doing it to conserve.
no,
That's what I thought.
no,
No.
no. Now you how do you know you need to conserve? You hadn't even played. They did it on game one.
Man, they were looking at that tape and like, look at these dudes.
Yeah, but it's like
Indiana like is fast. Like
no,
you don't
I get
realize how
that.
fast. Like I used to think New York played I didn't think they were really that conservative. I thought they were relatively fast, like a fast team, until they played
Right.
Indiana, and I was like, oh my God, they had to slow the ball down because Indiana was just go.
Right.
I think they
Right.
were watching those tapes, and they were like,
Yep.
jeez.
Yeah, but I get that. So you say, okay, we're gonna start it, but we're gonna change our rotation with how soon we bring people in. But you're basically telling them, hey, you guys bother us so much, we're
Yeah.
gonna change. Did you see Golden State ever change their lineup
No,
depending
never.
on who they did you
No.
ever see the Lakers do that, the Bulls?
No.
No, you go with who you go with, and then what I can see if Indiana wins maybe 2 or 3 games close,
Yeah.
right? And they win a few games and stuff early, the first, second, and third games. Now it's like, okay, hey, maybe we need to make a lineup change because Hardenstein is not giving us what we need.
But
But
what
you let
if?
that play out.
But that's what I'm saying. What if they were in the thought process of, okay, when it comes down to the rotation, they sub out halfway through the first, that you always still had a consistent big out there running instead of taking both of them out and running small ball.
But here's how you deal with teams like that are fast. You beat them up on the boards.
True. I do
You
agree.
beat them up on the boards. You punish them inside.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to change what they're doing because they're getting killed on the boards. If they stay small, that's fine. You're saying we're going to trade 3s for 2s. But if we're consistently, you're getting one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're shooting a high percentage from 3s, you're not getting 3 and 4 extra possessions as Indiana would be looking. But if you're smaller, we have long guys that can get to the rim. So your smalls are smaller than our smalls,
Right.
but your bigs out big us, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, that goes to like how I'm starting to see the league now. Like you said, it's the big man is making a comeback, but at a different capacity. And again, me being a Laker fan, that was what got us out of the first round, was the fact that we thought we can get away with playing small ball against obvious bigger team. Minnesota is a bigger team than LA, and it didn't work. And yeah, we love LeBron. LeBron could possibly defend all 5 positions, but size doesn't matter.
Right.
And so does fatigue. I don't care if he's 40, 30, whatever, fatigue still plays in when you get beat up in the hole all that time. 40 minutes is a long time. And he was technically playing
Right.
like unmanageable minutes. Like I was like, oh my God, sit him down.
Yeah.
And so and I know he's a rookie coach, but there were certain things that I could not. I was like, why did you do that? Like you have a big. You don't really have faith in them. We got 2 bigs that you don't have faith in. So since you don't have faith in them, they're not going to perform like you expect them to, right?
Right.
And they needed to perform. They just like, don't play them in the first and don't play them for the rest of the game.
Right. Look, it's another situation of a coach being cute. Now, look, I need to say this. I'm going to get to your point, but let me address this.
Okay.
I feel like we was robbed watching Game 7 because Halliburton tears his Achilles.
Okay.
If Halliburton doesn't tear his Achilles, Indiana goes on to win that series. Everybody's trashing Mark Dadnow for OKC for the things he did in that series throughout that series that didn't make any sense. Trying to be too cute. This plays into Reddick. Why change? If you don't have faith in him, put him out there at the beginning like you normally do.
Yeah.
Maybe you sub him early because you see that he's not effective.
Right.
But he's going to be effective. He's going to be because I didn't understand.
You gotta, some people warm up. I know you warm up before the game and all that, and we get it. But sometimes you gotta see that ball go in the hole. You know what I'm saying? And you don't see it, you just, even if it takes all the way to get a foul to make a free throw, some players get like super duper after that and they just don't stop, right?
Right.
Hayes, I rode for Hayes during the season. Me and you went at it a couple of times on Facebook. I was like, just give him a minute, let him gain some weight, because we all said that about Anthony Davis. He was a skinny little power forward, right? In New Orleans, but that dude became a beast. Right. And what made him really dope, what made Anthony Davis like an anomaly was that he was short growing up. And so he was a point guard. So he learned how to play basketball as a point guard.
Yeah.
Got that growth spurt. So he still had that ability to carry the ball down the court.
Right.
And so that's again, once in a generational player. And so Hayes, he's just a lob threat. Yeah. Develop the brother. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to sit outside after practice to start doing those 16 footers, anything to just double his game, because what I started figuring out to your argument was once you figure out that he was just a lob threat and that's it, you can just cut the lob.
Yeah, but it's not just that, because you look how ineffective is Gobert on offense?
How
very ineffective. Ineffective. He's very ineffective
he's
offensively, right?
He's nobody.
So if Gobert, if Hayes is guarding Gobert, they kind of cancel each other out, don't you think?
But then you put Lynn out there. You just put Lynn as a bigger body to I know, but I'm just saying you can do that in the meantime instead of having LeBron take the brunt of all that work.
Yeah, no.
And then they thought, here's another thing. They thought, if we can switch them on defense and have our guards on Gobert, and they can just I was like, dude, they're gonna trap you.
Well, the way Minnesota plays defense with Gobert is he drops.
Yeah.
So their defenders come over the top to try to push that guard down and not get him that shot. And that's what you have with Vanderbilt and what's his name? Finney Smith. That's the way they play. So you keep Hayes in a drop on those pick and rolls and let those guys come over with their length and
then
speed.
They didn't even use Vanderbilt like this. I'm like, come on, man. We understand the limited minutes during the season, but he was good to go in playoffs.
I can point to almost 90% of the team and put maybe 1 to 3 players on there on every team, between 1 and 3 players that are ineffective. They're not good shooters. They don't handle the ball well. They have a skill, obviously, because they're in the league,
right?
But they don't provide the certain strength that, quote unquote, Boston. Let's just look at Boston, where all 5 guys can shoot the 3, right?
Yeah,
they pose that threat. They can all take you off the dribble, right? That's a rarity. OKC didn't have that, right? So, I can point to every team and show you that there are guys that struggle in certain instances. So knowing that, put him in those strengths of position. Let him give you 3 to 5 minutes of strong, hard play like a Hart does with the Knicks.
Yeah.
He doesn't shoot. You play off of him. He might shoot every now and then, but his strength is crashing the boards, being an energy guy.
Yeah.
Don't take that away from him.
Yeah, I agree. That part I agree. And that's how I look at Vandy. Like I don't expect him to score. Even though he can't, he's like a Green to me. Like Green is so sometime. Green is like great in defense. Or
Draymond?
Draymond. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. He's not like Draymond.
No,
No.
what I mean is defensively. Yeah, he's
But
Vandy.
see, Vandy can't guard multiple positions.
Now,
Green can
but
guard
then you
multiple
train him to do
positions.
it because if you know he can.
But I'm not saying when I do this, I'm not saying he doesn't have that, but that's just a natural talent that Green has. He
Oh
has
yeah, I just think
you know.
he's a spotty shooter, but I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
they have him. I don't think they have him to shoot. They have him.
he's if he scored more, if he really tried to score more, they would be so much more dangerous. But I understand why he doesn't
Mhm.
because he wants to get the ball into other guys. He'll slip a screen every now and then,
Yeah.
go like he's going to dribble handoff and then go and get his points. If he was to score between 12 and 16 points a game, Golden State is even more of a threat because you have to account for those points, but he doesn't do it.
No, you went to go get Jimmy to fill that void, so I think that took that pressure off of Green to begin with. Like,
He never had it because he never tried to do it.
well, I'm just saying, but now we don't have to worry about it because he's like, it's like, well, you got Jimmy to do all that now,
Right.
so and that's
And
what Jimmy does.
Green would look at it and say, "Man, I won 4 championships being like that."
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, and that's absolutely true.
yeah,
You would have
he's not
still
breaking what's
won.
working.
Yeah, you would have still won those, right? Now ask yourself this question. You probably have 6. If you
Probably.
don't make the bonehead decision, which I still think was egregious with the Cavs, right? Okay, they lose that. Then when you play Toronto, if you bring up your point production, now you can still kind of free Clay and Steph up more because they have to account for you offensively. And you think about it.
Yeah,
Game 6 or 7 against the Cavs? I want to say he scored 23 to 26 points in that finals.
I think it was 6 because didn't they go to 7?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, so it was one of those games.
It
But
was 6 because 7. Yeah, well, it could have been 7 too because it was like that game. That was the game that LeBron shot that one shot, that 1 3, and was like, that was it. And it was game,
yeah.
and that's when he did that iconic whatever chest bump shit he does. And I was like, I remember watching that game, and like people like the thing about LeBron, like talking about like that type of production. LeBron, what I think, what makes LeBron like what you're talking about that technically that it factor is the fact that Cleveland, that squad wasn't A plus. Let's just be real. It was like a bunch of rejects on that team that were good.
You
Like
talking about his?
they weren't like the super team, like everybody like J.R. Smith and uh
You
uh
talking about the one that beat when they
Kevin
beat
Love, huh?
you talking about when they beat
Yeah,
Golden
I mean
State?
they weren't Golden State. Golden
No, well
State had this.
they weren't Golden State, but they had 3 legit stars
Yeah,
with
but not
Kyrie.
like. But again,
No,
our argument would be like, but it's not the West. You know what I'm saying? The West to me was
nah,
tyrant.
they match up against anybody with that team because back.
I'm still gonna be. I
Okay,
mean, on the East, yeah,
no,
they.
I'm talking about in the
I
West.
don't think so.
They
Like I
had
think.
height.
I'm just
I think
saying, but none of those dudes could have done that ending of that series the way LeBron did it. And excuse me, I'm not a big LeBron fan. Just to keep this clear, I appreciate dude, and I think he is one of the greatest. That's hands down. But that's why I would draft him. If I play 2K, man, we like with the kids. I did. We would play 2K and we would do our mock draft, and we'll draft, and we only can have 2 stars. Mario always got LeBron. He was a huge LeBron fan. Or actually, he was an actual Dwayne Wade fan, so he always somehow, some way would have Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. We're like, so we would go back in the vault and pick out Jordan. Like we had to do stuff like that, like Magic Johnson.
Right.
So we had to open it up because Damari was killing us with just those two dudes. And he would always kill us in the fourth quarter. Like in the fourth quarter, because the game was designed, you know, we know LeBron could play in the fourth quarter. So, like, I picked up Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant couldn't even do nothing. It might have been the user. But my point is, you look at certain dudes, right, that are supposed to close out games. It goes back to your point. You're looking at the dudes that's supposed to close out a game. There's not. So what you would expect with Oklahoma, you would expect SGA to be the one. That's why I pay you this money, is to do that. Halliburton, the same thing. You might not be the face of the league, but you're the face of this damn team. So you need to show it when it's. So I agree with all that. I agree with Brunson being that dude to close out the game, because you know he can close it out. Versus what's our boy name that got traded to Minnesota? You don't
Randall.
You don't expect Randall to close out. Randall is your muscle.
Right. He's like this. He should be your second, probably third
option, if any. But I expect Randall to be that dude to bully you. I need him to destroy your whole confidence. Like, he does that really well.
Right.
Like, again, when we talked about it last time, psychologically, Randall could do that.
Right.
Is he a champion? Like, is he the dude that I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go pay this dude $50 million to do? Like, he's not gonna close out a game for me.
Right.
He's just not gonna do that. So what I was looking at, and again, since we're not casual basketball fans, when you see these two teams, and now I'm listening to what you're saying about, like, how the road of how they got there, a lot of it had to do with a lot of big names getting hurt. Because, like, a lot of people don't give Aaron Gordon a lot of respect.
Nah,
like they should.
He was killing them.
That dude right there.
Yeah, he was killing them.
They always want to talk about everybody else on that team. I'm like, man, Aaron can shoot. He can defend. He'll fly over your ass.
Yeah.
He's just light-skinned. That's the only reason why you know that. You know that that's what it is. That's it. That is it. It's the Drake syndrome. It's actually really good.
What is this light-skinned?
Come on, Keenon. You know I'm not lying. Because you look at him, if you had to draft him, if you had to do a trade and he was on the trading block, and you're looking at him, I'm taking him too. If you ask anybody on Facebook or Instagram and say, I'm on. Why? Because you think he's soft? Because he's not soft. he like Michael Beasley. He's like a non-looking crackhead Michael Beasley. That's what he looks like. And
y'all killing me with
dude, I'm just saying, I'm not making it about colorism, but that's called a spade a spade. I'm like, the dude is what Denver is a problem.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. Yeah. Denver is a problem and nobody sees why. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, they have 4 options off the rip.
Yeah.
They got 4. And they're like, you can't compare that to like Phoenix, right? Phoenix had a dominant squad. I just think, I don't know. I don't
this
know.
Year? This year?
Well, I've always thought, even when Durant got there, they had a.
No.
You didn't think so?
No. What I didn't understand is why people were picking them to represent the West Conference Final. They were.
I didn't think they were going to make it. I don't know what those analysts were thinking.
They were thin in the post. They had no rim protection other than KD sometimes. Yeah. They didn't have legitimate long defensive wings. Then you had the problem, as I keep saying, where you have Bradley Beal, Booker, and KD. Those are guys who want the ball to make things happen. You don't have anybody to facilitate to them, right? And if you facilitate to them, now you have another guy, and three of those guys are small. You got a guard, and then you got Booker and Bill. Bradley, they're not known defensively. Booker's better defensively than what he used to be.
Yeah.
But you got small guys. So when you play against bigger teams with legit, 6'6", 6'7", 8 wings, those guys, Bill is gonna struggle on the floor. And then if they were just so out of sorts, it was a bad chemistry. It was like, I guess, an NBA 2K. Let's put these guys on the team without having the other stuff around. That wasn't gonna work.
I didn't think so either. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what I thought. Some kid that was on 2K, let me just pick up all these dudes, not realize it. And the number one thing you said was facilitate. Like, I do believe in a true point. Like, even if the true point happens to be a 3,
Right.
or 2 that brings up the ball that starts the play or starts, I agree with you 100. There got to be a pass first guard on the floor.
And when you think of Golden State, Steph really isn't a facilitator. That's why that's one of the reasons why Dre doesn't shoot as much, right? So that's one of those things, because he facilitates more. So yeah.
No, and just like Curry, you could tell just the fact that he runs past pick and rolls and screens all game. That's why he's always open. But yeah, he is your point guard. But you know that any coach would know, okay, well, he ain't gonna hold that ball. So he's a catch and shoot dude. That's what he does.
Right.
And so the reason why he's undefendable, because he's running past all those screens to break free. That's what they designed. That's what makes them lethal.
Right.
Now as we push them forward, we're looking at, I think there's going to be new teams emerging. So over this last week, we just saw Boston just break apart.
Yeah.
And I don't expect, old boy's out for next season. Period. He's not coming back. They traded Holiday and Porzingis, that was a shocker because he fit well into that dynamic.
It wasn't a shocker because this year, he's always hurt.
Oh, well, I mean, right? He's
always hurt, and that's been his biggest thing.
Yeah, that's what happened when he first got to New York, right?
Right. He's always hurt. Think about it. He was in and out of the lineup during their playoff run, and he was able to play some good minutes against the Mavs. This year he was sick. Nobody knew what he had, but he was really sick.
Yeah.
Plus he's injury prone, and it's like they needed him. I think they could have beat New York if he was healthy, even without Tatum. But yeah, it's like, man, look, and then you got new owners, so they're coming in like, man, we ain't paying all this money. We're gonna get rid of some of these dudes.
Yeah, and then Green might be on the block. That's the rumor, that they're just probably going to just clean house and get that. It's more about money, not talent, that's going on right now, and trying to get under that luxury tax thing. But so the rumor is that they are shopping. They might be shopping for Green also, because he has that $52 million coming up.
Green.
I mean, not Green. What's his name?
Brown.
Brown. I don't know.
Okay.
Brown. We were talking about Draymond, so that Green was stuff. All right. Yeah. So Brown is on the trading block, and with Brown, even the Lakers are talking about it, because also Lakers are under new
ownership. Yeah, he doesn't fit with them.
He doesn't, and I'm telling you, as I grew older, I started understanding, that's what I'm saying. If anybody was to take the time to watch the finals, they can understand what role players mean, because that was a true definition of what role players do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he could be an alpha, but what I'm saying is with the Lakers, you got Luka and LeBron, right? So
Yeah.
unless LeBron is not gonna, LeBron's still gonna want to show who he is. Plus, you got Austin Reeves, who was emerging.
Yeah.
So that's 4 guys that could technically be number ones.
Yeah, and so, but the only thing that makes Luca dope is Luca could be a pass first guard
No,
at any time.
no.
No, I'm saying
He's
at
not-
any time.
you
He
know, but
doesn't
he's not
have
a
to.
he is not a pass first guard.
No,
He
I
is.
didn't say he was a pass first. I say he could be one in situations. And then what I mean by situation, he's a great lobber. He's a great assist dude. He got that eye.
Luca passes the ball when it's apparent that okay, I'm not gonna be able to get this shot right.
But that has to go with IQ.
But that's different than like LeBron or Joker.
Well,
They
no,
might
what
set
makes
up
LeBron
somebody.
special is LeBron will opt to pass first. Now.
Right.
Now. Yeah, he'll opt to pass the ball first for multiple reasons. But he doesn't have okay, so LeBron doesn't have to have 30. He doesn't. Not now. Before he did. Because there was nobody else that was going, he had to, nobody was shooting shit. So now that you got shooters, I wouldn't go for another guard. I would still go for big. I would still try to develop an inside game to relieve the stretch of the backcourt, because that's all we got right now is the backcourt. That's all we got.
Well, I'll tell you, everything with the Lakers, and I end on this. I don't care what you do, who you bring in, is always gonna go back to, can Luka defend? If he doesn't get any better than what he's been defensively, you're gonna be having the same conversation, man.
No, I'm the only threats that I'm seeing this next season is possibly San Antonio.
I think they're a year away.
I think I'm just saying, I think they're a playoff team now. Or moving forward, they'll be. I'm interested to see what Houston's gonna do. I don't know why they would have gave up Green, but
no, I told you why. I told you why they were gonna probably get rid of him. But see, you're in Houston, so you say you had a feel. I roll with that. But then they got rid of him
because they made him the face out here. You know,
and when they got rid of him, I was so tempted to message you. I was like, oh.
No, but I was laughing because I did think that. I was like, damn, he really did that. Like,
yeah.
You know why I didn't understand it? Because Durant's 37, 38 years old?
But he's still.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying the fact that you would give up futures, like.
Okay, so here's my question, and we're gonna have to wrap this up in a little bit.
Yeah.
But here's my question: Green has been there. What? This was his 3rd or 4th year?
I think 3rd.
Okay. Did you see anything this year that made you think that he was going to be better than what you saw in his 2nd year to be the guy?
No.
There you go. Now, do you keep him and make him a 2nd or 3rd option? Possibly, but you've paid him 1st option money.
Yeah.
Right? And that was look, if they had a closer, they beat Golden State. If they had a guy that they're going to, look, you went to Sengun because Sengun was probably your best option. Sengun is not there as far as being a dominant player. He can play, but now with KD, now you know that you got a guy that you can get a bucket at any time you want against anybody. There's nobody stopping KD from getting a bucket.
Nobody's gonna stop him. Not on shooting. I'm just looking at defense though. Like,
but KD is such a great defender.
You think so?
Oh my God. He was okay. I'm not getting into analytics, but he was probably Phoenix's best defender. When he was with Golden State, he was probably their 1st or 2nd best defender. He protects the rim great. He is going to fit in effortlessly with Houston. because he knows he has guys that are going to lock up. So he's going to lock up. So where is the weakness defensively now?
Okay. I'm not going against that. I want to see, but
it's like OKC. It's almost like a better version of OKC because, well, okay, Shea can get a shot. He's the MVP.
Right.
But Shea's not KD when it comes to scoring, right? When it comes to scoring, Shea's not KD.
Not yet.
And yeah, not yet. Not let me make sure I say that. Not yet. And KD's probably starting to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was still averaging 26, 27 this year.
Oh no,
right?
he's not that far from LeBron as far as him getting older, and he's still good. Yeah, that's not. I wouldn't.
Low key,
you got a point.
Low key, that was a steal, not because they got KD, but because they didn't have to give up much. I feel bad for Dylan, man, because
nobody gives a goddamn about Dylan. I want to throw my drink at the game. Man, I hate that dude. I want to go. I can't stand that dude. I seen him in the street too, man. I'd be wanting to like run up on him. But then, we're the same height, so I don't. He don't scare me. But anyway, I know we got to be out. But the only complaint I do have about KD going to the Rockets is that now the fucking games are going to be like $150 versus $16. I used to go to Rockets games just to go because they were like $16. It was as cheap as buying beer. And this is when they were. Go look at a Rockets game this past year. It's never been full.
Right.
Even though when they were really dope, even in the playoffs, there was a lot of seats open. Boy, you get them jokers for like $15, $16.
It's gonna be packed every.
Yeah, man. I don't care about that now. I'm like,
I see. I don't know what they're gonna do in the draft. I mean, as far as like I know I don't know what they picked up in the draft. I don't think they need a lot to maybe an extra point guard to bring come off with Van Fleet, just to give him some minutes.
Yeah.
But man, that boy is gonna teach those other guys. Is it a Sir Thompson that's with them?
Azur, yeah.
He's gonna be like a sponge.
Yeah.
With him. Those guys are gonna be like sponges because they know what KD brings.
Yeah.
I would barring any type of injury, I'd be shocked if they weren't playing in the Western Conference Finals to go to the championship. I'd be shocked.
It's gonna be interesting. Well, I'm excited about Summer League for the first time because I do want to see what we're looking at for next year for everybody. Because I think the league is going to change again, and I think it's not going to be the same. It's not. It's wide open now. We had small market teams want to go to the championship. Now it's all like everybody's like, okay, now everybody's hustling, bustling. Now it's a thing. Now it's not LA. Now it's not New York, Chicago, Boston, Miami. Now it's like teams like Portland. Portland got a squad now. Like I'm excited about next season because of the fact that now games we can watch any game and be like, damn.
So, it should be a lot more competitive across the board.
Yeah. Yep. So thanks again, Keenon. I appreciate you. I just wanted to do this because I wanted to do I told you so to everybody out there. Like, yo, we told y'all what was going to happen. We told y'all what was going to happen.
Hey, well, we can come back again if you want to have me on in probably I'd say a few weeks to a month when open free agency opens up and you start seeing trades and stuff like that. There might be some that are going to be that could change, right? There's this quote unquote whisper that there's a possibility that Giannis goes to Golden State.
That's going to be crazy. That's going to be ridiculous.
If he does, it just depends on what they give up. Plus, they've, in the draft, they've drafted some bigs. They just need a few other things. So every team, there's maybe a handful of teams that they're where they're at, but there's some other teams that it's like they need one piece to bring them to be able to be, hey, we're gonna be competing with y'all. So
some of them are taking the gamble this time, though. They're gonna gamble this time.
We need to see what free agency does,
okay,
and we need to see what kind of drafts they put together. Because I don't think Kuminga's gonna be back with Golden State, so he could be a trade piece that they use to get a big time player. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
All right, so we got that, man. Go do your basketball stuff. I got to go do my cooking show. So
you need to have me on for that cooking show, man.
Yeah, I be doing it, boy. I be trying to get it in.
Hey, before I go, so you like my idea about the store, the whoop ass store? I got to come up with a name.
Yeah, I do. I love it. We'll come up with something. We're gonna come up with something.
I'm gonna think of a name for it. See if I can get some investors in.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, man.
All right, boy.
I appreciate you.
No doubt. It is I Hate Podcast Show. We gonna see y'all later.
1991, see yeah, hangs high. What the dudes were dumb, corny, but the ladies were fly. Hanging with Day, career that master getting black pussy. Yeah, and he lived around the way. Knew this girl named Shay. She was mixed, but always willing to play. So I let her. Claudia was a chick that drove a black Jetta. Mexican broad, and she believed she was go-getter.